Now I'm going to give you two recipes, one for brown bread and one for white dinner rolls, from a very old book passed down generation after generation. Brown loaf, 250 grams, 9 ounces of strong white bread flour plus extra for dusting, 250 grams, 9 ounces of wholemeal flour, 200 millilitres, 7 fluid ounces of warm water, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of dried yeast, 1 free-range egg beaten, 50 grams, 2 ounces of porridge oats. Mix the white flour, wholemeal flour, warm water and salt until well combined. Then bring the mixture together to form a dough. Turn the dough onto a clean floured work surface and knead with floured hands for 15 to 20 minutes or until smooth and elastic. Shape the dough into one large loaf. Transfer the loaf to a baking tray, cover with cling film and set aside for 2 hours until doubled in size. Actually, you wouldn't cover a batch of loaves with cling film for 2.5 hours. You would put a damp cloth over them, a large damp cloth. Transfer the loaf to a baking, I've already said that. Meanwhile, preheat the oven to 450 Fahrenheit, 230 degrees C, gas mark 8. Once the loaf has expanded, brush the top of it with a beaten egg and sprinkle the porridge oats. Bake the loaf in the oven for 25 to 30 minutes or until cooked through. The loaf is cooked when it's golden and sounds hollow when tapped. Unless you've eaten the middle out of it like I used to. I used to love doing that when it was warm. Fresh brown bread, I used to pickle all the middle out of it and leave the outside. My dad used to be furious and I used to do it to several of them. Anyway, white dinner rolls. 2 cups 450 ml of warm water, 2/3 of a cup of non-fat dry milk powder, 2 tablespoons of yeast, 1/4 cup of sugar, 2 teaspoons of salt, 1/3 of a cup of butter or margarine melted, 1 egg and 5 cups of flour. In a large mixing bowl, mix together warm water and dry milk until dissolved. Stir in the yeast, followed by the sugar, salt, butter and egg, in order specified. Add 2 cups of the flour, mixing with an electric mixer. It was always a larger electric mixer in those days. I wonder if it's still going strong. On low speed until moistened. Increasing mixing speed to medium and beat for 2 minutes until smooth. Add 2 more cups of flour, mixing on a low until moistened, and then on medium for another 2 minutes. Gradually add remaining flour, half a cup at a time, until a soft but manageable dough forms. You may not need to add the full amount. The softer dough produces a lighter roll. Cover the dough with a damp cloth or cling film and allow it to rise until doubled, about an hour. Punch dough down with your fist and roll into an 8 by 18 inch rectangle. Brush melted butter over the dough with a pizza cutter. Cut dough in half lengthwise to make 2 strips about 4 inches wide. Cut horizontally to make about 16 pieces of dough. Starting with the short end, roll up 1 piece of dough, Swiss roll style, with a butter on the outside. Place on a greased glass pan. You would use a baking sheet in those days and a big peel to put the trays in, because it was so heavy you couldn't manage it in by your hands and arms. You would have to use a peel, not a church bell peel, a dough peel, a bread baker's peel. Anyway, starting with the short end, roll 1 piece. Hang on a second, where did we get to? Oh yes, place in a greased glass pan. Repeat with as you could use any old baking tray, it wouldn't matter. Repeat with remaining pieces of dough, making sure that all the rolls face the same direction. Cover and let rise until doubled in size. Bake at 350 degrees Fahrenheit, 180 degrees C, gas mark 4 for 20 minutes or until golden brown. Brush with additional butter if desired. Cool in a pan on a wire rack for 15 minutes. In those days we had a bread bin which you used to lift the cover off, and it would be covered in flour. But if the flour stopped there too long, you'd get beetles and lice, and then you had to take it all out and scrub and scrub and scrub and disinfect, and then get rid of the disinfectant till it was clean and pure enough to put the flour back in and dried. That's Sandra the Mistress Baker on a brown loaf of bread and probably a dozen rolls.